And guys, our topic for today, I was considering doing rebuttals because we got some great material in recently for rebuttals, and we were going to stay on the Monday morning meeting a little bit longer on Monday, but I got distracted, saw something shiny, and we ended up not doing that. So, but a great email went out last week from Justin Ellingson that came to the agency owners about a piece that he had done when going out and meeting with a particular agent's people. He realized they were very weak on their rebuttals. And guys, let me share this with you. When you're new, heck, even when you've been around for a while, the reality is more people say no than say yes. If your closing percentage is less than 50%, that means you have more people not buying than you do buying. And it really doesn't matter what they say at the end of the presentation. They could say, think about it, pray about it, ask my husband, ask my wife, you got a card, you got a brochure, the sky is purple, green, and black. It doesn't matter what they say. Your response is the same every single time. And that is starting off with feel, felt, found, and then moving forward from that. But guys, keep in mind, if you're average rookie, you're closing 1 out of every 6. If you're doing 6 presentations a day, that means you're getting 1 yes on average and 5 no's. In a 5-day work week, that means you get 25 times to use the rebuttals, at least, because some of those 5 sales for people are using the rebuttals that they buy. So to help them buy. So I just would encourage you guys, use your rebuttals. If you're out there, if you're taking 40 minutes to do a presentation and you're not at least taking a minute and a half to do rebuttal number 1, you are leaving business on the table, because folks will buy if you use rebuttal number 1 and do a good job of it. And we'll dig deeper into that on a future training or on a future training call. But I definitely wanted to at least bring that up and bring light to you guys to please use your rebuttals. If you're not using them, put a note right now in your phone to remind you tonight when you get home to the IPA time and income producing activity time from now until 5-6 p.m. That's not the time to study your sales talk. This is time to be in our business as soon as we hang up here. But tonight after is time to work on your business, and make sure you make learning your rebuttals a priority. Okay. So guys, one thing I'm going to share with you guys is we're going to talk about personal finances today. Peter used to always share with us that, it's not just what you make that's important, but it's what you're able to keep and able to save that's important. We have a wonderful, wonderful business that allows for so much, and living below our means and knowing what our budget really looks like is so very important. Because I'm going to share with you a quick read from an article I saw about 4 or 5 days ago that made me think of this topic and say, this is something I should share with the crew. But this is an article written by a person named Lee Penn, entitled 5 Things I Learned When I Meticulously Tracked My Expenses. Okay, with screenshots of my spending to prove it. So I'm going to share this with you guys here real quick. I developed an online shopping habit over the pandemic. I wouldn't call it a full-blown addiction, but I enjoyed a quick dopamine hit when I clicked the purchase button. Maybe some of us can relate. Our brain activity while shopping is well documented. Psychology Today reports that online shopping is often more exciting than in-store shopping. When you place an order, you have to wait. This builds anticipation, which leads to a greater eventual dopamine release. I experienced these larger dopamine hits once my package arrived. Before long, my closet was filled with unworn items. I knew things were getting out of hand, so I decided to count how many items in my closet still had tags on them. This was a wake-up call. I felt ashamed and wasteful. Sadly, I'm not alone in my waste. Fashion United reports that 82% of clothing items never saw the light of day last year, pre-pandemic. Okay. Like all addictions, the first step was acknowledging I had a problem. The second step was deciding on a plan to break this habit. My solution, I decided to meticulously track my expenses. I created a basic Excel doc with some conditional formatting and SUMIF functions. I don't know what SUMIF stands for, but maybe it'll tell us somewhere in the article. I don't think it does, but maybe somebody can Google SUMIF and see what that actually stands for. Here's what I learned. Sum.
It's a sum function, like addition.
Oh, it just adds everything up together to give you your. Got it. Okay.
If it meets certain requirements, that's what she was talking about.
Okay, cool. That's over my head. One thing, guys, that I know Kyle's heard, and a bunch of folks on here that have been here longer than 2 years have heard before, is we encourage everyone to take 1 month and just track your expenses. Every penny that you and your spouse spend, track them for 1 month, and you can really see where your money goes. And we'll talk about that here in just a minute, but it's such a smart thing to do. I can negotiate my non-discretionary spending. That was the first thing that this person learned. I first examined my mandatory expenses. For me, that included rent, parking, utilities, cell phone, insurance, medical expenses. We often consider recurring costs to be non-negotiable. We get so used to them that we hardly notice or try to change them. Yet many of these costs are negotiable. Your cell phone provider, landlord, doctor, they want your business, especially if you're a good customer and pay promptly. Okay. I negotiated my parking and my cell phone bill down by about 15%. If you live in an urban neighborhood experiencing a pandemic exodus, chances are you can negotiate your rent. This actually shows a snapshot of their expenses and if they're necessary and what the amount is here. Number two, I broke down discretionary spending into two categories: responsible and frivolous. Okay. Did I feel bad about buying my friend a $40 gift for her baby shower? No. Did I feel guilty about buying a $160 pair of lace-up ankle boots? Yes. We often break down spending into non-discretionary and discretionary, yet I believe that the latter category should be further broken down into responsible and frivolous. Okay, so discretionary being broken down to responsible and frivolous. Give yourself a frivolous budget threshold. I allow myself $500 a month, which includes travel. Simply knowing you will have to label a purchase as frivolous is a deterrent. Okay, it keeps us from doing it. I haven't purchased any clothing or beauty items since those ankle boots. When we purchase things online, the impact isn't tangible. Money in electronic form is much more difficult for the brain to track than money in the physical form. I hardly blinked when I purchased those ankle boots, whereas my Excel tracker allows me to visualize the impact of my frivolous expenses. Okay. And guys, don't get too caught up. Oh, I don't know how to do Excel. I guess this doesn't include me. This is just this person's way of doing it. Okay. When I did it, again, it was a small pad that I carried around in my pocket for 30 days. Okay. And just simply pulled out a pen and wrote it down. Eating out, rideshare, and indulgence shopping are gradual killers. I knew I overspent on these categories, but I didn't understand the extent of it until I diligently tracked my expenses. We often hear the phrase, it adds up. Once I physically added up my expenses in Excel, I saw that I spent $628 on food in January. This phrase became clear as day. I wasn't surprised to learn that 49% of millennials spend more on dining out than they put towards retirement. That's scary. I'm now super hesitant to spend in these categories. I no longer have it's only a $15 salad mentality. A biweekly Uber Eats habit will creep up. I view dining out as an indulgent treat, not a guaranteed ritual. Number four, lifestyle inflation. The perils of lifestyle inflation are well researched. We might have fond memories of staying in hostels while backpacking across Europe or Asia, but we wouldn't do that now. As Alice Boys writes in Barron's, tracking my expenses forced me to reflect on my own lifestyle creep. I replaced my drugstore toiletries with brands from Sephora. I'll happily pay an extra $100 to avoid a layover while traveling. I haven't been to a Walmart in years. Okay, just signs of spending more. This shift didn't happen overnight. It happened gradually. I'm challenging myself to seek out cheaper grocery stores, gas stations, and salons as a method to roll back my lifestyle inflation. Finally, number five, investments over short-term gratification. I started putting away money for retirement at age 22. And again, guys, this is the one where I hope you don't well, I'm past 22, so that ship sailed. Guys, it's been said, the best day you can plant a tree is yesterday, right? Or 20 years ago. Okay. When's the next best day you can plant a tree? Today. Okay. Guys, it's the same with investment. When's the best day you can start investing and putting back for your future? 20 years ago. But since we don't have a time hop machine, the second best day is right now, today, because of compound interest, which we won't go into today, but It is a powerful, one of those powerful forces in the universe, according to Albert Einstein. Started putting away money at age 22. At age 30, I'm starting to see the power of those investments. I love the cliche, a penny saved is a penny earned. Each frivolous purchase equates to money, less money for retirement. I find myself toying with compound interest calculators, seeing how $5 can grow to $50 over 40 years. It's a fun exercise. My only regret now, I thought I maxed out my 401k annually. I wish I'd consistently maxed out my Roth IRA. I saved $300,000 by age 30 on a modest salary. My latest goal is to save $1 million by age 40. Okay. Let that sink in for a second, guys. And understand too that, guys, by the time you retire, not including, I mean, obviously we're in a residual income business, guys, but don't put all your eggs in that one basket and count that being everything. Okay. We need to be putting money aside for retirement for that. If you guys don't have a Roth IRA, you need to write that down and you need to get one set up by the end of the week. Okay. It's not a big deal. You speak to your CPA and you can set that up, but that money grows. It's been taxed already, so it grows tax-free. Okay. That's one reason why my children are both employees of my business, so that I can pay them. And because you can match up to a certain amount in a Roth IRA, and that money will grow tax-free for the future, guys, because we don't know what taxes are going to be in the future. So having something that's not going to be taxed down the road is pretty valuable. I am not a CPA. I do not give out financial advice, but I can tell you that saving is a good thing. Okay. In summary, tracking my expenses has completely changed my mindset and spending habits. I feel and am more in control of my purchases. I no longer seek dopamine hits in the form of brown packages. Continue to IRA brings me more pleasure than the purchase button. I highly recommend this practice to anyone looking to reduce their spending. So guys, I won't ask for any volunteers out there to share out things. This is a real personal thing, but if you would like to chat one-on-one, I'd be more than willing to have that conversation with you and can direct you to smart people. I don't know everything, but I know a whole lot of people that do, and it can turn you on to them. But guys, one thing I was going to say, I thought I was going to finish earlier, is when you understand things like the 4% rule, guys, the 4% rule, that means whatever you have at retirement age or age, you can basically take 4% off of that nest egg and assume that it will replenish itself annually with interest. Okay, 4%. So guys, if you have $1 million sitting in cash in an annuity or in an account, and you skim 4% off of that, guys, understand that's 40 grand. Okay. So as my dear friend Brian Wilson likes to ask, it says, if you have $1 million, if you can't spend $1 million, you only spend 40 grand of it each year. Are you really a millionaire, or are you a 40,000-aire? Okay. Keep that in mind. If you want to have access to $100,000 in retirement, that means you need to have about 2.5 million in cash that you can skim 100 grand off of each year and expect it to replenish itself. Okay. If you're kind of getting that pit in your stomach, like, oh crap, I need to get saving, then don't ignore that thought. Write it down to make sure that today you're going to do something about it. Okay. Before we wrap up, guys, was there any blinding flashes of the obvious? Anything come to light from anybody on that they wanted to share or bring up?
Yeah, I'd like to bring up something really quick for you, Van.
Sure.
So I've been having an Excel spreadsheet of saving and basically tracking all my spending since COVID first happened. One thing that I learned with that as well is doing day trading and learning to invest as well, and having the Roth IRA and everything set up too. So it's definitely a big help. Being 21, I'm already seeing the progress that it's made, and seeing how it's going to help me in the future. And I've been doing that ever since COVID first started. So it's definitely a big help to start that Excel or a notebook to start tracking those the transactions and stuff that you're doing.
Mackenzie, thanks for bringing that up. That is a great point. Just keeping up with it, huge. And Mackenzie, by the way, I had a very, very good chat last night with your field recruit. Guys, if you haven't met Mackenzie yet, he's taking his insurance exam this Friday, and he has an extremely good candidate already in his pipeline, someone that was a manager friend of his at his last career. So You don't have to be on board and be here for years or months or weeks or even at all yet to be recruiting. So just kind of keep that in mind. Anybody else with a comment about personal finance?
Yeah, Van, I just wanted to chime in. A lot of folks that maybe started off in the corporate industry may have had a matching 401k. And then when you separate from that organization, you can roll that over into a traditional IRA. In fact, it would be smart to go ahead and do it, even though it is still pre-tax dollars. A Roth IRA is the way to go. I mean, just post-tax dollars. Yeah, there's just no way to get around that.
Yep.
Senator Roth was one of the smartest guys around.
Yep. Guys, my CPA told me, I'll share with you something that he shared with me. He said, Van, if you can help your kids put $300 a month in an IRA while they're in your home, and you just do that until they get out of college. So for my son, that's for 8 years. For my daughter, that's 10 years. He said, by the time they're 50 years old, that investment of $3,000 per year, so $3,000 per year for my daughter is going to be about $30,000 over 10 years. For my son, it's going to be about $26,000 or so. That money, they'll both have $1 million based on some very average and conservative growth by the time they're 50 years old. Now, will $1 million be worth what it is today when my kids are 50? No, it won't. But if it's worth half that, they'll probably still be in a much better spot. So just some small things. So having my kids on the payroll and giving them some remedial things to do within my business. Do they get overpaid a smidge? Probably, yeah. But again, that's just, that's something that it has to be income to be able to put back. So that's why they're part of the company. And you guys all have that same ability. If you want to do that with your kids, you have the same ability to create a S Corp or a LLC or what have you, and make other people employees in your business. But again, I'm not a CPA. No specific questions on that. I do know one. I know a couple of them actually. So guys, this is an email that I sent out about 30 minutes ago to all of you, and I want to encourage you. This is the action point for today. Okay, it says here, team. This morning in the Raleigh office, the question. This is actually from about 2 years ago on a Monday morning meeting. But the question was asked by one of the leaders: how much money do you need to make to pay all your bills each month? Okay. And I want to pause, guys, and this is a rhetorical question, but if I ask you to within $50, can you tell me how much money you need to make to pay all your bills each month? Would you be able to give me a specific number? Okay. Nobody really seemed to have an exact answer in that meeting. Was it 2,000? Was it 3,000? Was it 5,000? While close may work in horseshoes and hand grenades, it's no way to run our personal finances. Okay. Once you truly know exactly where your money's going, you can become the master of it. If you don't know where it's going, then the money acts as your master and you'll always be chasing it. Okay. No matter how hard you chase it, it'll never be enough to reach that seemingly fictitious place known as personal financial freedom. Okay. I've seen people double, triple, and even quadruple their income and still be broke. Why? Because the same reason that pro athletes, sign multi-million-dollar contracts when they're 22 years old, and then they're bankrupt within 3 years after retirement from playing their sport. We just operate on a slightly smaller scale, but with the exact same issues. Because even though they can make more money, they don't know how much more it takes to get where they want to be. So spending habits expand to use up what's there. It's called human nature, guys. Start to put a few thousand back. Well, time to get a new car. You bring in 2,000 a month more than last year. Maybe it's time to get a more expensive house. Okay. And all the more expensive furnishings and trappings that accompany such a purchase. Okay. I too fell into this trap about 17 years ago when I first moved to Raleigh. We bought a more house than we should have purchased. And as a result, we were challenged for a couple of years there. Even though I was making good money, we kind of put ourselves in a tough spot. Fortunately, we've got a business where you can put the pressure on yourself and work really, really hard and make whatever you want to. What I'm about to suggest to you is a bit tedious, and it's easier to do than to not do it. Just like, guys, 6 demos, it's going to be easier today to go out and do 3. than it is to go out and do 6. But pleasing methods would be doing 3, which typically leads to unpleasing results, which is 0 sales. Unpleasing methods like doing 6 demos or 8 demos like Jeff Pickett did yesterday, oftentimes lead to very pleasing results like selling $3,600 a premium. So just remember, you can have pleasing methods or pleasing results, but very often are you able to have both? Okay. So, but it's easy. It's the only way to know of what you really know of, to really know exactly how much you spend and consume on a monthly basis. So here's what I'm recommending. For 30 days, carry around a small notepad in your pocket everywhere you go and write down every penny you spent. Okay. Pay rent for $1,200, write it in the notepad. You fill up your car with gas, it's $56.76. Write it in the notepad. You buy a Mountain Dew and a Cliff Bar for $2.35. Write it in your notepad. You get the idea. Every penny gets put in there. Once you track that data for 30 days, okay, and it doesn't matter. You don't have to start on the 1st of each month. What does matter is that you start and end on the same date. Okay, so if you start this today on Wednesday, February 24th, it means that you do this through March 23rd. You just need a full 30-day cycle, because you're going to have 1 rent or mortgage, 1 power bill. You're going to have 1 cell phone bill. All of your recurring expenses, you're going to have it in a 30-day period, regardless of when you start tracking it. Okay. So please don't say, oh, I'll wait for a week and start next week. It's a great time to start now. Once you track that data for 30 days, just total up the different categories and plug the numbers into the attached income needs worksheet. There's a paper version of this on page 11 and 12 in your success manual. I'll try to open up this so I can show it to you guys, but for whatever reason, let me see if I can do the quick look attachment. Oh, nope, apparently not. So you can start this exercise any day you want. Again, as long as you end on the same day, 1 month later. We tend to have roughly the same expenses at the same time each month. So as long as you have the 30-day cycle, you'll be close enough. And you'll be amazed at how much money that you and your family, yes, your spouse must participate in this for it to be anywhere close to accurate, okay? On stuff that you don't even think about. Guys, this is key right here. Letting your spouse know. If you have a live-in significant other or you're married, let them know about it, guys. If you're on a mission to figure out personal finances, if you keep it a secret, no one's going to help you with it. But if you share your mission and why you're doing this to get a good handle on it, you can get them on your side. And man, it's so much easier and so much more fun of a journey when you're not doing it alone. But please invest 5 minutes to read the below piece on having a budget that you can use on how much money you can take, you can make, save, give away, reinvest into your business, save for the new car, save for that killer European vacation, et cetera, et cetera. Once you know where it's going, then you can control where it goes and how much of it stays with you. Keep in mind that if you're not consciously telling your money where to go, then you're unconsciously letting someone else tell your money where it goes, we're telling it where to go. And long term, it won't be where you really want it or need it to go. Okay. So guys, this is the part that I'll finish up on. And again, this is page 11, 10, 11, and 12 in your success manual, but it discusses financial independence. Matter of fact, just to show you guys, hold on 1 second. I'm just going to go right to the page so I can actually show you the success manual. A great tool to have and to use. And right up towards the front, is how money works, understanding the numbers on your renewal commissions. It's all right there. The commission opportunity. There's some great stuff in here, guys, to get familiar with. But financial independence starts on page 10. Here we go. Guys, most people strive for some sort of financial independence, the ability to wake up in the morning and not worry about money or about making a living or about where the next paycheck's going to come from and whether it'll be enough. Unfortunately, for most Americans, financial independence will never be anything more than a dream. A career with Globe Life Family Heritage Division gives you the opportunity to truly create financial independence. Every time you make a sale, you create a long-term residual income stream. The more sales that you and or your team makes, and the longer that you and or your team makes those sales, the bigger your residual income stream becomes. After 5 years with you own 100% of that residual income stream. Guys, the vesting schedule, it's 50% at 2 years. So once you hit 24 months with a company, your 2-year anniversary, that's a big deal. Vesting starts. Once you hit 3 years, you're 60% vested. At 4 years, you're 70%. And then when you hit 5 years, it leapfrogs all the way up to 100%. So stick and stay and make it pay is not just a rhyme for our clients to keep their policies. It's for us as agents to stick around the business, okay? Because you don't get those residuals if you're not in it, okay? So after 5 years with the company, you own 100% of the residual income stream, and you'll be paid that. They'll be paid to you as long as those clients are paying their premiums. And by the way, guys, your renewals are a willable asset. If you pass away and the company can no longer pay them directly to you, you can leave them to your spouse. You can leave them to your kids. And if you don't have either of those, you can just leave them for me. I'm kidding. Regardless of your affiliation with Globe Life Family Heritage, okay? Guys, that's true financial freedom, okay? Guys, you will get to the point where you probably need to have even obviously a will. You guys don't have a will right now. If something were to happen, somebody will decide where your funds go. The challenge is it won't be you, and it won't be anybody in your family, okay? It'll be somebody that you don't want making decisions for you. So have a will. It's so important. And when you start having so much that it's too much to leave to a kid all at one time, you'll create something called a trust, okay? And that's a whole different ball of wax and pretty, takes lawyers and things like that to create those. But that's when you can control your money from the grave and how much of it is released and where it goes, who it's released to. Financial independence is not only a factor of how much money you earn, although your income does impact your financial freedom, but it's also a factor of how much money you spend and how much money you keep. Guys, this next part, I hope you're writing this down. The Millionaire Next Door. It's a book I recommend all of you get. If you've never read this book, you could do a lot worse than hop on Amazon Prime right now and order it and have it delivered by this time tomorrow and read it over the weekend. It's actually a pretty easy read, but it's a wonderful book. And we encourage you to read it. It's full of lessons and input directed towards how each of us can achieve that millionaire status. And as I mentioned earlier, guys, if you'd like to have access to 40 grand a year in retirement, you're going to have $1 million. Okay. That's not some crazy far off number that only rich people get to. No, a lot of people do. Okay. And a lot of people don't. Okay. My parents, I found out, years ago that on a two state salaries, they were able to, between equity of their home and living not frivolously, living very tight, were able to achieve that level before retirement. And I can tell you right now, my mom does not jet set all over the world now. Okay. She lives a modest life, but she's making it last. Okay. One of the first steps in achieving this status is to create a budget and to understand and manage your expenses. In our business, that budget will also help you set goals for exactly how much you and or your team needs to sell each week or each month to meet your financial needs. Okay. Not just your needs, but it'll also help you meet your wants, which are beyond your needs. What's beautiful about our business is the fact that if you need to make more money, you can. You don't need to go ask for a raise. All you need to do is work a little harder and a little smarter and a little more effectively, and you give yourself that raise. We strongly encourage you to take some time to fill in the attached income needs worksheet to help create a clear picture of what your monthly financial needs are, so you can develop a clear plan to earn the income necessary to meet and exceed those financial needs. Feel free to meet with your manager or your agency owner to help in completing this tool. This is one of those tools that if you use it, it'll have a long-term dramatic impact on your income that you earn and the amount of income that you keep and you save for the long term. And guys, again, I just emailed you out an electronic version of this that actually does whatever that word is you talked about, the sum. It does it. So if you go in on the actual one and you type in $1,600 for rent, it'll put the total in here. If you put in your renter's insurance or homeowner's insurance in there, boom, it'll total it up right here. So you'll get your total categories, everything for housing, then everything for food, not just groceries and eating out, but snacks. As some of us don't realize that in a regular month, we probably stop into convenience stores 20 times for snacks. Okay. I used to do that too. I used to make my sandwich every single day for lunch, right, when I was early in the business, but then I would buy a 20-ounce Mountain Dew and a bag of barbecue potato chips to eat with it. When I realized that I was spending more than $80 a month in convenience stores on snacks, I immediately stopped doing it because I realized I was wasting money. I was eating terrible food that wasn't giving me any long-term energy, and it was just bad for me. It was making me fat too. So I cut doing that. Started bringing a couple waters with me, and cut the chips out. It made a big difference in my energy level and also in my budget. Automobile, not just payments, but gas, insurance, license, maintenance, guys, repairs, replacement savings, guys. It's much easier to replace a car that dies if you've planned for it. Remember, it wasn't raining when Noah built the ark, right? Guys, all of us have one thing in common. Whatever we're driving right now, we probably won't be driving it in 10 years. You're going to need to replace a vehicle. Well, guess what? If you start saving for it now, it's a cinch by the inch. It's much easier to do than not saving up a dime, scrimping to get the minimum down payment, and then financing it and paying a lot more than what it was actually worth. Okay. You can make interest work for you if you get ahead of it instead of waiting and then scrambling after the fact. Insurance, do you have your insurances in place? Any debts? If you have credit card debt, what's your plan to pay it off? By when? Okay. How much each month? Any other loans and notes? Any other recreation and activity? Trips, babysitters, vacations, gym memberships, clothing. Okay. Guys, we probably don't go out and shop every month for clothing, but most of us have that one big shopping trip per year. Well, if you save up 1/12 of that every month, it's a lot easier than, again, putting $1,200 on a credit card. And then by the time you pay it off, you ended up paying $1,600 for the purchase instead of the $1,200 it originally costs. Anything medical, education. Okay. This is interesting. It was fun to have education on here, have tuition for our kids when they were in preschool that we had to pay for, and then to remove the tuition when they went into public elementary school. It was fun to see the budget dip from that. Of course, now with them both in private school again, it's gone back up. Any other miscellaneous? Hopefully most of you don't carry a pager at this point in life, but cell phone, toiletry, cosmetics, obviously savings and giving. Do you tithe 10% to your church? Do you give to some other charities that you love? Investments, guys, stocks, 401ks, IRAs, these are things that need to be budgeted in. It's not, well, someday I'll have a bunch of extra money that I'll throw in there and catch up. You can't catch up with compound interest, guys. It's impossible. So I just want to encourage you guys and challenge you to track your expenses. You've got this in electronic form in your inbox right now. But guys, it starts with a decision. It starts with a conversation with your spouse. And if you track it, guys, you'll know where it's going, and you'll be amazed at how much further it goes when you have a good handle on it. Guys, any questions or any comments, any BFOs, as we call them, blinding flash of the obvious?
Yes, I wanted to state that you mentioned having a notebook, but I've always tracked every penny because I was trying to get out of debt. And one thing that I did find is it's called the Checkbook App, and it does exactly what you're stating. And then you can put that information into your Excel, and it does, the pie chart or however you want to have that information, document it. And what you do is just put, where you spent the money, you put in how much it is, and it does it for you. And what it's called Checkbook, and it is available in the App Store if you have an iPhone, and also and Google Play for if you have an Android.
Is this it? Is it the yellow one that I'm showing right now?
Let me see. Yes, that is the one that I use.
Okay. Yeah, it's called, yep.
And
Cool.
if you get the Pro, I think it's like $4, and you can put in all of your accounts. Like if you have a main checking or a savings or whatever you use, and you can put in all of your accounts, and it, if you save whatever store you go to, it'll save all of those different stores, and you put in how much you spend.
Right on. There's another one right in the same category called Mint Personal Finance. I'm sure there's a ton of these, but it's great to know what somebody that has already used and works for them too. So I'm actually downloading Checkbook right now. Guys, I'm going to share this with you. It's been, there's a saying, any man who's ever taken a shower has had an idea. It's the man that gets out of the shower and dries off and then does something about it that makes a difference in this world. And guys, everybody that's been on this call has just now been exposed to some ideas. Now, some of us are going to leave this call and go back and just say, yeah, that sounds good, and keep going and doing the same darn thing we've been doing and have zero lasting impressions. Some of us are going to do something about it right now. We're going to physically make a note. We're going to physically set an alarm on our phone that reminds us tonight to have a conversation about this with our spouse. And I'm excited for you. Yes.
And may I say one more thing? Mint, that you stated, Mint, if you download Mint, it will automatically put in every transaction that you have with your bank account. So if you connect your account with Mint, it'll automatically do it for you.
Cool. Thank you for that, Brandy.
Hey, Van.
Yeah, Mint is good, and I have that, and it was eye-opening when I first downloaded it.
Cool.
Hey, Van. One is if you have the opportunity, spend cash. You're typically not as prone to spend as much cash as you do a plastic card because you feel it more.
Yep, for sure. That is a true fact right there, guys. So guys, thank you for being on. If you have any questions about this, call me. I mean, if I don't know the answers, when there's a good chance I won't, I probably know someone who does, and that would be a licensed CPA, someone that can give true financial advice or a financial planner. So, but yeah, knowing this stuff, guys, it's not only important and a good thing to do, it's 100% necessary if you're ever going to reach that place called financial freedom. You guys have been blessed to make a great choice and choose a career that can get you there. To make sure that enough is coming in, just got to make sure that you don't have a bunch that's slipping out the back without your knowledge, and that's what happens if we don't track our expenses and become masters of our budget. So, guys, thanks for being on here. Have a great day. It is well, I was going to actually share real quickly. Here we go. Real quickly, a quick incentive update just to make sure everybody knows. But after 3 weeks of our 6-week incentive for the Unleash the Power Within, I congratulate CJ Clark, Casey Fine, Caitlin Roberts, and Rob McLean for all being winners. 15,000 gets level 1, 30,000 gets you level 2. So keep that in mind. And level 2 is pretty crazy. It's awesome. 5,000 a week gets you that. Hey, Toy, we can hear you. Toy, we can hear you, bud. So guys, I dare you. Just want to, this is where people are for I dare you, and it's actually what you need left to do to win it. So everybody, if it's at $10,000 or more at this point, is on the list. Jeff Pickett, Elise Houghton, Toy Bellamy, Johnny McGee, Josiah Carr, and Todd Stiles. You guys all need to average between 8,200 and 7,000 the last few weeks of this to win it. That means you probably need to step it up a notch if you want to win I Dare You, and that's okay. That's what strong finishes are for. Rachel Hutchinson, Brad Phillips, Patrick Nair, and Caitlin Roberts. You guys all need to average between 6,000 and 7,000. Okay. Brooke Throckmorton, Zach Tolbert, Trish Mosier, Rob McLean all need to average between 4,500 and 5,400 a week, right at a green out, just a smidge over. And then Casey Fine, you need to average 3,400 the rest of the way to win it. CJ Clark, 3,300, basically 3,400 will get you there as well. So guys, know where you are, track where you are. And also remember, these are the folks that were on the board last week. If you're on the board every week, every week of the month, and there's 5 weeks this month, and you get over 15,000, which means instead of averaging, almost 4,000 a week, 3750, you only need to average 3,000 per week. 3,000 times 5 weeks will get you to 15,000. So be sure that you become a double winner, and instead of $100 for PIF Perfect, it'll be $400 for PIF Perfect plus the $375 the company gives you. That's $775 for doing something very, 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 very simple. So guys, thanks for being on. Have a rock and roll day, and appreciate each and every one of you.